And it's great to have editor-in-chief of But Why Tho. It's Kate Sánchez joining us again on Gaming Morning Show. Good morning, Kate.
Hi, good morning.
We are excited to see you on World Cocktail Day, and so we've been asking chat throughout the course of the morning. In fact, what is the best cocktail out there? We've seen things like Mai Tais. We just got Sex on the Beach from DRG Games saying that. We even had something called a Kalimoko or Kalimoko,
I
something like
think you're right.
that. Coca-Cola and cheap red wine. So we've had a variety of things.
Oh,
Do you have a go-to cocktail?
yeah, an old fashioned.
We have an
There you
old-fashioned
go.
expert,
It's a
Mike.
Kate. Yeah.
What is an
Oh,
That's what I get
old-fashioned?
everywhere we
on.
go.
Hold on. So Kate Sanchez
Every
and Kate
time, man.
Zaid both like old fashions. Is it a Kate thing?
I don't know. It's a good thing. It's
All
I
right.
need one
Okay.
thing.
What is it exactly? Because we were trying to answer that earlier. Isn't it a whiskey drink?
Yeah, it's
Some
whiskey,
vodka
and then
drink?
it's a whiskey drink. Manhattan is a similar version. I believe that's bourbon. But it is muddled sugar, whiskey, bitters, cherry, and orange zest,
Mm,
if I remember correctly.
I think I need to give it a shot. See, here's the thing:
It's
is
really
I
good.
was booted out of Montana because I wasn't very good at drinking whiskey. Never have loved whiskey, but
Ah,
the orange might make me want to try it. I might give it a
there's
shot.
not a lot of that. It depending on who makes it, it's whiskey.
Seriously, I said a whiskey drink, and now everybody in chat's basically citing Chumbawamba. So yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lager drink, there's
As
a
they
cider
should.
drink. Yeah, you have the But Why Though podcast. We talk about that. New episodes usually come out on Wednesdays. Find out more about whythopodcast.com. But of course, if you go to your Twitter feed, it is pretty much focused a lot around Resident Evil Village. A lot of people have been
Yep.
playing it. Tell us what you've learned, what you like, what you found out about Resident Evil Village.
Um, what I like about Resident Evil Village, honestly, is the fact that it reminds me of why I fell in love with Resident Evil in the first place. So, there are two games that are really pivotal to me as a gamer, and that is Tomb Raider and Resident Evil 2. Those are the games that I fell in love with, that made me fall in love with gaming. And that's really why I keep doing what I'm doing. But one of the things a big gripe that I've had with the past Resident Evil games is just they don't feel like Resident Evil games, even the remakes. And the funny thing is that this one, even with its like dark fantasy fairy tale setting, feels like the most Resident Evil game that I have played in a very long time. And it's because of the mechanics. Even though you have like a really heavy like action combat in the last end, it reminds me a lot of Resident Evil 4. And so if people remember Resident Evil 4, people were mad with what Resident Evil 4 was doing because it was essentially changing up the games. This is a very similar, and it also implements certain things from Resident Evil 4, like the merchant system and stuff like that. So that's why I love it. And one of the other reasons I really love it is I am all for new people discovering franchises and falling in love. And I genuinely think that because this one isn't reliant so much on knowledge elsewhere, it's a perfect way for people to jump in. The game that it's most directly connected to is Resident Evil 7 because it's continuing the story of Ethan Winters. But Capcom prepped a nice little recap for you. And it when you boot up Resident Evil Village, you can pick uh do you want to watch this recap of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard? We really think you should if you haven't played the game before. And it's pretty good of getting you up to speed and then you just go right in. So yeah, that those are my thoughts. My review is on butwhythopodcast.com and you can find it there. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And then I also have a piece that I wrote for 4 reasons why you should play Resident Evil Village, especially if you haven't played a Resident Evil game before.
And so that's interesting. Is it something that you can kind of jump into if you've never touched a game before and
Mm-hmm.
get that same kind of feeling that maybe when you play the first Resident Evil, it's like, wow, I felt this way about the first one. I've never played before. I can get that from something like a Village.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
100%.
That's awesome. Castlevania is on Netflix, and I have not had a chance to watch this. It sounds like it's entering its last season. Get us up to date about what you're looking forward to with Castlevania on Netflix.
So I've already watched it all.
Oh my gosh.
I reviewed it. Well, I got it ahead of time, so I've actually, as most things, I've watched it 3 times through already. I gave it a 10 out of 10 because it really sets the bar for every other show when it comes to wrapping up stories. Everything is wrapped up. It's not necessarily wrapped up happily for every character, but everything feels complete and whole. And if you are a Castlevania fan and you thought that season 3 was big when it came to battles and violence, oh no, you have seen nothing yet. The folks at Powerhouse, they're based out here out of Austin. They're probably my favorite American animation studio company. And they saved everything for last. Like, this is like the most stunning animation that I have ever seen come out of the US. And it is just a beautiful ending to a series that a lot of people have fallen in love with, myself included. So as a critic and a fan, holy crap, guys. Holy crap.
Well, I love it because last time that you made a recommendation on Netflix, I want to say we were talking about kaiju, right? It was on the heels of But Why Tho's Kaiju Week. Mike immediately went and started watching the new Pacific Rim Black.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, Mike's like, "You got to watch this!" Like he couldn't quit talking about.
Blew through it in a night.
Yeah, your recommendations tend to pan out for sure.
And I will say, if you like, Castlevania is also a great show if you don't have a lot of spare time. The first season's 4 episodes. The second season is 6. The third season is 10 and fourth season is 10. So there's not that much content, which when you fall in love with it, you'll be sad about, but you'll be able to go through it pretty soon. And the But Why Tho community in our Discord, discord.gg/But Why Tho, because we're verified now.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will be doing an entire series watch through this Sunday starting at 12 Central. We'll start with season 1 and make our way all through the series together.
Zev said the animation from Castlevania is so good, though, and Chris M.E. says, I'm really looking forward to last season Castlevania as well. One thing that I want to make sure that we give you a chance to share is you also have a Patreon. That's something that we do with Gaming Morning Show, and you can have access to But Why Tho through a Patreon as well. Tell us about what your Patreon offers to people who sign up.
So our Patreon, patreon.com/But Why Tho, we have 3 Patreon exclusive podcasts. The first podcast you get at the dollar level is Manga Trash. That is where me and my co-host on Did You Have To, Nisha, I believe she's been on here before too, we talk about smutty manga that we can't talk about anywhere else. You get that at the dollar level. At the $5 level, you get access to So I Was Thinking, which is a podcast where me and my husband pretty much replicate the conversations we have in the kitchen, where we talk about random things. Like we talked about friends after COVID and how it's going to be hard to make them because some people lied on Instagram as to whether or not they're going out. We talk about making gaming accessible price wise. We talk about like everything. Director's Cuts, I think, was one of our most recent ones. And then there's Bourbon and Burdens, where Matt and my best friend, me not included, they just drink and talk about like their burdens that they've had during the week or the month, and they kind of like just gripe about it, which is kind of like just like grinds my gears podcast.
Yes.
And that's also at the $5 level. And yeah, so for $5 and under, you get access to 3 Patreon exclusive shows. All of them are in double digits now, so you have quite a bit to listen to.
Kate Sánchez joins us typically every Thursday, or someone from the But Why Tho community. You can find out about Game of Thrones and why it matters through the But Why Tho episode that's released yesterday. No, that was last week, so that's looking at May 6th.
Last week's ad.
So check it out, episode 175 at butwhythopodcast.com, and follow Kate on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining us this morning on Gaming Morning Show.
Thank you,
you.
Kate.